I'm KHOU11 meteorologist Kim Castro, and here's an extended look at the forecast. You're going to start to see a lot more of these over the next coming days. They're weather impact alerts. It's when we notice that a particular time frame is going to be a little bit more high risk, and we want you to be extra careful and aware. So currently we've had this weather impact alert until 5. This could get extended if we look at radar funneling in more of these storms. For now, we're tracking downpours. We're tracking certain cells that have gusty wind, 30 to even 40 miles an hour, and of course frequent lightning, which is why we advise you when driving to give yourself extra time to get to where you're going. Give extra space between you and the car in front of you in case you need a break. Of course, slick roads cause hydroplaning and all kinds of issues. Here's a look at water vapor imagery. We're seeing a lot of energy out in the Gulf, and this is what's going to feed the several rounds of rain that we have through Labor Day weekend. It's not organized, but it's certainly pretty expansive. The field covers the coastline of southeast Texas into the coastline of Louisiana. Both states, Texas and Louisiana, are going to see quite a bit of moisture. So we've had several pushes of storms. These are kind of the outskirts of this counterclockwise flow that provide the energy to lift up the moisture in the atmosphere and then bring it back down with those torrential downpours. We're talking about tropical moisture, so these raindrops are fairly large. So I'm not worried about any drought here in southeast Texas with all the rain that we have. We are fairly saturated. Now, West Texas needs some moisture. So what's the outlook as we go into the start of September? The bullseye for above average rainfall expected for Brownsville. So South Texas will get in on more shower activity. Southeast Texas expected to get in on above average rainfall. This takes us all the way through September 8th. West Texas could see an uptick in some moisture, but not a ton. Now, let's look at our neighborhood weather network, just at the amount of rainfall that we've gotten on Thursday. So coming up the Gulf Freeway, notice the gateway for these storms is the Gulf Coast. So these are the areas that are going to see more rain totals kind of stacking up. So Towns Road, close to an inch of rain. Almani Drive, more than an inch of rain, pushing it closer to downtown. Rice Military, Maxey Street, 3/10 of an inch of rain. This is just with that first wave. So we're going to see more rain accumulating throughout the day and, like I mentioned, through Labor Day weekend. So we've got, if this first round gave us about 1/4 of an inch of rain to closer to 1/2 an inch of rain, just think about that kind of compounding over the next couple of days. We'll start to see some rain totals stacking up. So that might cause a little bit of an issue. I'll talk about the flood concern here in a moment, but I want to show you the camera shots because this is what it's going to look like over the next few days. So the storms, once you see these skies kind of darkening, that you know that another batch is moving through in just a couple of minutes. So Galveston, because again, that's what feeds in that tropical system, the system that is bringing us some storms. Again, this is not an area of interest by any means, but it is an area that is fostering some scattered storms that is going to be impacting us. The Gulf Freeway, seeing the slick roads, the raindrops on the lens, kind of a dreary looking shot. And look at what happens to the temperatures with the rain-cooled air. Remember, rain as it comes down, it evaporates, and evaporation is a cooling process, so those temperatures come down into the 70s. You can expect that throughout the next few days. 86 degrees, that's going to be your high temperature for today, and that's it. That's well below average for this time of year. The average high should be 94, so we are trending on the cooler side. Looking at future track, after this first batch, we're going to see some more isolated downpours, but when we do see a cell park over an area, it's going to come in with a fury. So even though, let's say, downtown doesn't get these downpours, well, Mont Belvieu could certainly feel the impacts. Liberty, Huntsville, that's a snapshot at 4:30. We take it to 7 o'clock, and there's still this likelihood of seeing some of the wraparound moisture impacting our northern cities and counties. So this is from Huntsville to the Woodlands. We take a little bit of a reprieve for a few hours, but then look at the overnight lighting up again on radar 2:30 with storms coming up the Gulf Freeway, the East Tex Freeway, and that's going to impact commuters on Friday. Friday is the highest rain chance that we have, 80%, but it's pretty substantial even into Labor Day Monday at 50, 60, 70%. So with this many days of rain, like we talked about, compounding, we'll wind up with anywhere between 2 to 6 inches of rain widespread. And the highest rainfall totals will be where the gateway is, the coastline. So Galveston, Brazoria, Chambers County under a heightened level 2 threat, slight risk for street flooding. Certainly seeing some ponding on the roadways, and some of that could cause delays, street closures perhaps. Notice there's even a marginal risk that stretches into Harris County, Fort Bend, so Sugar Land, Richmond, Matagorda, Liberty has the possibility of seeing some issues while you're traveling, and I know there will be a lot of traveling for Labor Day weekend. So Friday will shift the level 2 threat a little bit towards the east as that cluster of storms in the Gulf starts to move closer to Louisiana, and it'll continue to do that into Saturday. But notice we still have to be mindful through the weekend of the possibility of these downpours bringing us some concerns. Let's talk about that Labor Day forecast. Temperatures mild, mid 80s, 86 each and every day, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, give or take 1 or 2 degrees. The rain chance stays fairly high. This is not an all-day washout. You saw how those storms kind of wave in and out. That's what's going to happen. So maybe you see some storms in the morning, then an isolated downpour again in the afternoon, and then can't roll out an early evening downpour too. Whenever we have daytime heating, we have to plan for those downpours. That's this weekend. Let's talk about next weekend. So by Tuesday, we'll be watching this area, an unorganized cluster of storms. Look at that, it's an open wave, but watch its progression. This is the European model, by the way. It takes us into Cuba. This is a snapshot at September 8th, so on Sunday, next Sunday, and it's hinting at the possibility of some organization. The National Hurricane Center is watching this, and in fact, they have raised the likelihood for development with that cluster of storms to now a 40% chance of development over the next 7 days. So this is something that we need to keep an eye on at least once a day to see how it's progressing. The European and the American have a pretty good consensus on it developing, so we'll have to monitor its strength and then monitor its track. This is expected for this time of year to see some of the activity picking up the pace a little bit. Peak of hurricane season is September 10th. Let's take a look at that local 7-day forecast one more time. So temperatures are pretty steady. I mean, 86s all across the board pretty much. An 87 on Labor Day Monday with those scattered storm chances on and off, pretty much a shoo-in. And by the time we head into the next week, Wednesday, that's when we'll start to see temperatures coming up a little bit. That'll be closer to average for this time of year.